Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hanging Out with Howie on Monday nights. And we have our illustrious cast again with us. My very good friend and mind reader. So please get out of my head, Brian.
I'm here this week.
I thought, you know what? Monday night's topical night. I am going to bring this topic up, and you do a video and exactly the way everything that you said. I'm like, damn, that's me. So, I had to come up with something different.
I was telling Jay earlier that I talked to John, and I think we might do a live broadcast tomorrow night.
That would be cool. Now let me introduce the rest of our cast here. Superstar producer and Eskimo, part-time Eskimo anyway, Eric Wilson from Good Guy Productions. Welcome, Eric.
It was 10 degrees here today, Howie.
It's always 10 degrees up there.
It's a warm day.
And my road dog and good friend, John Cawley from Boston, Massachusetts.
I'm doing Howie.
And then we have Mr. Jay Brannon, all-round good guy and actually partner in crime at times. And we have Mr. Bill Marsh from Maryland.
We'll get a shout out tonight.
Welcome, Bill.
Awesome.
Okay, let me preface this so that everyone understands the context of it, particularly the viewers. And then these comments are going to be our opinions only. We're not telling anyone how to do their business. You do you.
No, we are.
And this is how we're going to do us. But I saw on many of the interwebs and the dozens and dozens of forums about, do you play music before your contracted time? And there were two comments. I mean, this is really polarizing. I got like over 100 messages after posting that, but one that stood out was a fellow started playing just a playlist, before his contracted playtime, and the client came up and said, listen, I'm not paying you to do a playlist, I'm paying you to DJ. And he goes, well, you're paying me at 8:00 at the contracted time. Right now, I'm getting things organized here in my booth, so I'm just, as a courtesy, playing some music. And she's explained that was unacceptable to her. So he actually turned the music off and sat down and did not play until his contracted time. The second comment that really stuck out, that was polarizing, was one person said, no way, I do not play until my contracted time any more than I would play overtime for free. So with that being said, let the festivities begin. Who wants to tackle this first? Go ahead.
Well, the worst venue I've ever played, I played last July. And it was so bad, I shot a video. And I tried not to say it was the worst venue I've ever played. Showed it to Michelle, and she's like, you can't post that. It sounds like you're making it out to be the worst venue ever. And a very, I'm contracted 3:30 ceremony. I'm set up. It's 2:30, 2:40. And the bizarre wedding coordinator who's running around with his iPhone in his back pocket playing disco, like the whole time he had his phone on playing music, goes, I'm going to need you to start early. I'm like, what do you define as early? He goes, I'd like music on now. I said, yeah, I can't. I'm not done setting up. I'm not even contracted till 3:30. Well, but I need you to start early. I go, but I can't because I'm not done. Now, had he said it in a different manner, I may have said, you know what? When I'm done setting up, probably like 3:10, I can start. But I still wouldn't have started at 1:15. And I agree with the comment. I've started 5 or 10 minutes early, but I always am setting up until the contract starts. And when the contract ends, the contract ends. Mm-hmm. I mean, I see a lot of DJs, and I'm working in an area that has a very hard 10 p.m. noise restriction issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm done like 5 of. Well, the issue I run into is the people that think, oh man, one more song is going to really do it. I hate to tell you this, everybody. One more song's not going to really do it. It's never going to really do it. You got to end things when you're supposed to, because it just turned the tables. If your client decided not to follow the contract for your needs, wants, and payment, how would you feel? So you should follow what you've agreed to. And if you've agreed 3 to 10, play 3 to 10. Sorry, but you got a contract for a reason.
Already.
This
Who's
isn't
up
the 60s.
next?
Go.
Go ahead, Bill.
So, as I said in my comment earlier to tease the show, I said, my answer really is it depends. And but much to the way Jay was saying it can sometimes depend on how I'm asked. But if I'm not asked, and it's a venue I enjoy working at, and their staff is in the middle of finishing up setting up, I might start playing music for their staff. And much like he said, there is one venue I go to, and almost every member of the staff is walking around with their phone in their pocket playing music. Some of them have buds in, some of them don't, whatever. But I'll ask one of them, "Hey, what are you playing?" And then I'll just start playing that, and let it go until there are people there. If it's an event where people arrive early, then yeah, I'm probably going to play music, and especially if it's a wedding. I automatically include 30 minutes ahead of the ceremony time, and I have prelude music playing at the ceremony site for that reason. And I will tell my clients in our initial meeting and then in our final planning meeting, if their shuttle service from the hotel is bringing X number of guests, over to the venue early, and it's not like the wedding party and family, let me know, and I will plan my start time for that time. To me, the front end is kind of gravy on the ceremony side of it, because I'm already there setting up in the reception site, and I have my ceremony system ready to go. Why not have some music playing to greet those people when they get there? If they're going to take advantage of it, yeah, I'm going to say, well, let's adjust the contract time a little bit then. But as far as overtime goes, no. 10 o'clock is 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock is 11 o'clock. And, if they want me to keep going longer, then, 5 or 10 minutes, if I know the venue will let me get away with it, I might do. If things were kind of moving slow earlier on and it was the venue's fault, or the caterer's fault, but I'm not going to play a half hour for free. On the flip side of that, though, I've stopped playing music. The room's cleared, and then I've started playing music while I'm finishing gathering lights or doing whatever I might do before I'm done tearing down. So if the situation warrants it, I'm going to play music because, well, it's what I do. And if the venue likes me because I played music while they were tearing down, why not?
Sure. What do you think, John?
I've gone both ways. I won't play music early if it's disruptive. If there's a staff team in and they're setting tables, generally I won't, because I've had happen before where I was just playing what I thought was background and someone would come up, asking me to play a song. Like, you're not a guest, you work here. We're doing this as a courtesy. Don't take advantage of the benefit. But there's been times I've walked into halls and, I've got there before anybody, and the guy who comes there with the key also happens to be the bartender, and we're the only 2 people in there until anyone shows up. And once I've got sound and I'm testing it, I'll go over and get a Sprite or something and say, we can put on something so we just don't sit here in dead silence. And well, what do you like? Give me a song or give me a genre. Oh, Motown. Great. We'll throw in Motown until important people start coming, and we'll cut the volume a little bit. But generally, my rule for it is you don't want it to be a distraction if people are still scrambling around setting up. Like, I wouldn't do it so much for a wedding, but a private party or some other type of event, I wouldn't have an issue with it. That's just what I would do.
All right, Eric, what are your thoughts?
I like not going first tonight. Sometimes I go first and I come up with some things, but each one of these three people who've spoken before me have great and valid reasons. So one of my biggest compliments is when people say, wow, you're really easy to work with. So that being said, there are 3 times that I'm going to look at my watch and keep us on time. Start of the ceremony, when the food is supposed to be served, and the end of the night. So at the beginning of the night, I don't want people seeing me sweat. That's one thing I don't like. So I try to get there maybe a little bit, give myself half an hour. But where we are, we do a lot of ceremony and receptions together back to back, sometimes at the same venue, sometimes not. If we're doing a location, say, how my neck of the woods, if we're doing a lodge location at one of the great camps here in the Adirondacks, sometimes they are doing the shuttles, as was indicated by Bill, and they get there a little early. So I'm going to run some music in the background, just a little, some light stuff. And it could be even just yacht rock or something like that, because I'm already ready anyways. So that doesn't bother me. Okay, I'm listening to some music, big deal. Then when it comes time to begin the ceremony, you segue into the ceremonial songs that are have been predetermined. But then, I guess, and again, these venues that we work at, when they say I'm easy to work with, it's because I know that, that girl over there, I know she loves Rolling Stones. I know that girl over there is going to ask for Hall & Oates. We work at a lot of these venues like this, and they turn around, they give you the thumbs up, and it's good mojo. Just, kind of gets everybody in the mood. So
it sure does. All righty. We'll go to the professor now. Brian?
Did John go?
Yes.
Ollie, where'd you go?
Okay, I'm sorry.
You were on the phone. Yeah.
I was
replacing
called
that
out of
on
here.
stuff in the background.
I was almost called out of here to be a plumber earlier.
Doing up a song.
Anyway, so, I've been doing this for a while, and I've never had an issue with playing some music early. These issues are weird. I mean, when I talk, and maybe it's just dumb luck, but sometimes when, let's say that, I don't know, let's say I have an event that starts at 5, and I'm going to be there at about 3:34, and whenever I get set up, I'll just throw something on. Oh, that's great, so they know it's coming. Or if it's a situation where I'm actually set early, and then I've got the venue or the hall, setting in the room, I'll play to them sometimes. I remember this sticks out in the back of my mind. I had this venue I was at one time, and there were all of these retirees there. They're black guys. And I was playing like the funkiest, like old school stuff I could think of playing. And they were so into it. And they were having so much fun. And that hall treated me great that night. I got everything I wanted. They were just very good to me because I was thinking about them. But yeah, I mean, when I do it though, I mean, just to be crystal clear, I'm not putting on Percolator, at somebody's wedding. I'll say on the microphone, hey guys, just so you know, I'm going to do a sound check. All right. Just so you know, just so nobody gets startled. And I'll do a sound check song, and I'll walk around the room and check. And after that, I might throw on some smooth jazz playlist stuff and just let it roll until it's time to go. And it's never been an issue, ever been an issue. It's not a rule, but if I am set, why not? It's not a big deal for me to do it. And I think it's appreciated.
I agree. I have never had an issue with that. And I'm always there early, but I'm always doing something. If first thing I set up, and this is not anything to do with ceremonies, I'm talking about in my case for a reception type thing. Some people come early all the time. And if I'm setting up that room, the first thing I set up is my sound system.
Right.
And I will do a sound check and walk around the room, make sure that's set fine. And I'm still in my setup clothes. And okay, I will play music because now I'm setting up the lights and so forth like that. And then it's time to go suit up. And I'll let the music play. I'll suit up and then come out. And I've never, ever had a problem like that. But I just don't have it in my heart to take the hard line of, nope, I'm not getting paid until 5 o'clock and I'm not putting music on at 4 when I'm finished.
If you're physically mixing, I get it. I mean,
Yes.
if you're sitting there consciously pulling tracks and mixing,
right.
I get it. But if you're just
Different story.
throwing some stuff on, so what? And it's not
What is
loud.
the problem?
It's background.
Right.
It's nothing
Exactly.
overbearing. In fact, I may not turn the volume up too loud until start time.
Right.
That's something I may do. I may keep it very low, so you can kind of hear, but not really. Okay, it's 5. Bump it up a couple dB, or a few dB, so they can hear better. Something I used to do as well. It's funny you mentioned that because I do the same thing. It's just an old habit where you get the PA set up first. That's just what you do.
Always.
And then while you're setting lights, this is probably a very old school thing to do, but your mind is thinking, all right, well, I'm contracted from 6 to 12. If I were to have a problem or be a little late, if I at least have music on at 6 o'clock and I'm still setting lights, nobody could get me for breach of contract.
Right.
I'm playing something. I think it's an old habit, but regardless, so the sound goes up first and down last is how I always do it. And at the end of the night, I haven't done it in a long time, but I used to have a lot of fun with this. As soon as I said goodnight to everybody, house lights would go up and very low volume. While I was breaking lights down, I'd put on Rock DJ by Robbie Williams and see how many lights I could break down by the time the song was over.
Play the game. Well, I do this. I did the same thing when it's done. I'll leave a little bit of moment of silence for the people to clear, and then when the staff is still there as I'm breaking down, I'll hook up my phone to one powered speaker.
Sure.
And break down everything else. And I'll even ask them, hey, what do you want to hear? Because there was this one venue that I did regularly, and they had some kind of music service that you could tell these were not the original artists. It was kind of like something, like, what the heck? And I said, what is this? And they went, they don't want to pay this, the licensing fee.
Yeah.
So they contracted with like a music service they used to get in the supermarkets and stuff way back.
CBGB music service,
Something like that, yeah. And I said, is there something you guys want to hear? And they went, yeah. I said, okay, we pick a channel.
The real version of
pick a channel on Sirius and okay,
the style of. Yeah.
And then,
Drew's famous.
I'll let that speaker go while I'm breaking everything else down. That'll be the last thing. And they appreciate that so much so that there was this one time I ate for an entire week from the food that they gave me to take home.
Well, I hope these
good guys
added perk for sure. Yep.
Yeah. What you and Brian just said, Howie, I hope this isn't, anybody who's listening and watching, that if you don't do this, this is what you should be doing. You can always dance to sound, but you can't dance to lights. So I'm hoping that's way more, Captain Obvious than not.
Yes.
You think so?
I think
It's like a silent disco,
But then again,
I get doing it.
Yeah, but it's a protective measure as well, especially with Brian's lights and some of my lights, and yours too, Jay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would who's going to be taking a big sound system, and you would notice if the sound went out. I'm going and grabbing those battery powered lights first.
Right. I mean, and I understand the playing before, and I've certainly set up early at events where I've done that, where I've just been in the mood to drop some cool disc I just got, or man, nobody's going to expect me to play, this dark wave, so I'm going to do it. The problem is on more than one occasion, it would progressively get loud enough where someone would say hey, the guests are starting to arrive, meaning you need to change this. So it was that kind of awakening of unless the first music of the night is more upbeat, because 99% of my events, the first time I play is prelude. So I'm playing some classical music.
Right.
So
you're
I'm really conscious.
Yeah.
Right. And to be honest, once I'm on the event, I've always had a real work ethic of, you do the most work at the event. You do your prep work, you get everything set up. But when you get there, you start moving crates around, you start going to the prepare. There's physical work. I'm not sitting there vaping at the bar talking to people about their life. I'm physically doing something. And what I might want to play in the background usually is not what they are going to want to hear. So I do my sound check. I warn everyone I'm doing a sound check. But, you know, I suddenly go on I'm playing Roxy Music and the country hicks walk in and go, yeah, see, this isn't what we want. People are very, I don't think we realize how judgmental people are. I've had comments from clients that hired me by walking in to do site inspections and go, we came in and you played this one song and we knew you were the right fit. Really? Really? You hired me on one song? Like, that's really gutsy because I brought 80,000 and I guess I got lucky.
Super lucky.
Happened to play this.
Hit
One
the
song.
You know, but I think the same is true in the other direction. I don't know the venues you guys work, but the majority of my venues, they're showing that venue up until the schedule. So if I've got a 4 o'clock prelude, there's at 3:30, there's customers that may be booking or have booked that room walking in. There's no advantage to me playing anything where a coordinator can't speak to the future clients. So I've got to be that church mouse sometimes and just simply look like I'm working. I've got a nice setup. Everything is put together that they may come by and be like, oh, you've worked here. Do you have a card? Because I can't do, you know, the same reason I wouldn't have you come to a wedding, because when you show up, the music I'm playing for that client might not be what you want. So it's an unfair judgment point. And I think, you know, I agree with really everything everyone has said. You know, Eric, you know, playing to venues he works all the time. I mean, he's in the woods. You know, it's different up there. I know.
Always that in the weeds.
No, hey, Eric, I haven't seen you in a while. I saw the video. When you put those blinders up, you got to make them level, friend. I'm just saying. Things are different up there. I'm just saying. No, I mean,
It's my cockeye.
I've been waiting to bust your chops about that for months. No,
I think it bothered Jay more than it did me, and I'm pretty damn anal about things.
Well, you know what? And I'll prove you're all right. When this is over, I have an 8 o'clock call with a bartender from the venue where I worked the most last year. She gave me 2 dates that they were looking at. Which one was I available for? So I'm important when she's switching dates against my availability. But she's already seen me 100 times. And, you know, she knows the MO and everything else, but it comes down to how different things can be wedding to wedding. So the same reason Eric's working those venues all the time, if he played the same music at every wedding, that would come back around to probably bite him. Because they'd be like, Eric's really good with this small window. Brian's really good if you only want Prince, you know, or whatever. You've got to always be varying things. And I just think you know,
people have asked me like, well, what's your favorite group? And I said ZZ Top. They're like, what? You didn't even play any tonight. I'm like, well, that wasn't for me tonight.
It's not my wedding. Yeah.
Right.
They'll ask me and I'll say, like, I love Deadmau5. Like, is that why you played 5 songs by him tonight? I'm like, yes, usually that's what I would do. I would have dropped, you know, all of like Tres Hombres personally, if that was me. Eliminator or
Jesus just left Chicago
and just let it play. Drop the needle.
I think it's important to, if you're going to do this, if you're going to just put some tunes on, which I do most of the time, I just put them on. But on like the most, I guess, just kind of generic stuff you can think of putting on that no one's going to notice. And I think that's
then why do it?
Background. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not playing Percolator. I'm not doing that.
Right. But why do it at all then if it's just so generic?
Plays.
No, but I'm playing things that I think might showcase my acoustics that I'm producing, and I'm doing it at a low volume. I'm thinking about some of the acoustic guitar stuff I play or the smooth jazz that I play. It's nothing anyone knows. It's just music. It's pleasant, but it's not like a banger, or it's not anything that's going to be polarizing anybody who walks in the door, I wouldn't think.
Right.
If I were to do that, if I were to go in and say, yeah, I think I'll just do a bunch of Prince songs until, you know, start time. Yeah, I might have somebody kind of look at me funny. It's a combination of what you're playing and the volume you're playing it at that I think makes it okay. You know, but maybe my DJ life is just like way uncomplicated. But I've never had this problem that a lot of you are having.
Brian's the Jack Kerouac of the DJ world. Let's be honest here.
I don't
Wacky
have any
World.
problems either. I'm not starting like an hour early, but whether it's if I'm just for the reception, I'll start, people will be coming in. And if they're there a half hour early, I'll do like what Brian said, something different, but at a low volume. And if it's the ceremony itself, well, gee, I through experience have learned that, okay, yeah, all right, maybe I need an hour. I'm bringing 2 hours worth just in case, because I had a bride an hour and a half late to her own damn wedding. Mm-hmm. And I had to cover because, well, okay, a few people started sitting, they usually bring the elderly first, make sure they get a good seat. And I'm like, okay, I'll put something soft on, classical, whatever, jazz, whatever the theme is for the wedding, I'll keep in that genre.
Right.
Keep in that genre. And how can you go
circle
wrong?
Jerks?
It's not like I'm playing, dark wave and
right.
Now it's time to play classical,
Unless specifically the venue tells you not to. Like when I did boats, you couldn't play anything until Borden music started, and they would announce it. They wanted nothing.
No.
That's
all.
I can understand Jay's point of view because, well, if they're showing off the venue at the same time that you're the same day. Maybe it's like, okay, I'll wait until they're done. But I'm thinking they're going to stop showing this at least a half an hour before the ceremony stops.
Well, why don't we do this instead? And I've considered saying this to some of my clients. Here's my new price that's been increased. And this is what you get. Your guests are arriving at 3 for a 3:30 ceremony, right? Right. You're going to show up at the venue at probably 1 o'clock to start getting ready. I'm going to be at the venue at noon. So those 2 hours that you're hanging out getting ready, I'm going to have the music you guys really like playing. You're going to get unlimited music, unlimited hours, but you're going to pay me $3,000 for the pleasure, not the atypical wedding. I'd be fine with that and say, you're going to hear music from the second you arrive to the second you leave.
You could probably do 2 to 3 and it would be nice.
Right. But I would want to do it as something of it's part of my package. You're going to hear music the whole time that speaks to you as you get ready instead of doing it in silence. Even though I'm over here and you're over there, to me, that's an upsell or that's a new condition or a new contract.
I've actually seen that. I've seen them think, all you can eat kind of buffet.
Exactly.
All day play. There you go.
Right. And that's a consideration for
all your ears can take.
That's a consideration. But I don't know the venues where a lot of you are working, but with venues in my area of town, whether it's San Diego or the Temecula Riverside area, the majority of them are one of 3. It's a private residence or a private venue, or it's a multi-spot, meaning you've got 4 or 5 rooms back to back to back that have weddings going on. So there's a hustle and a bustle. You can't tell who's who. Is this new staff? Is this guest from the last wedding coming through? Is this the new wedding? It just gets very confusing. So you try to stay in your head a little bit and the peace and quiet of not really doing much. And there are times I do just have music playing. But again, I wouldn't play to the venue. I'd play to me. I would either the staffing
probably part of the
or
problem.
Me. Huh?
It's probably part of the problem. I mean,
I got 15 weddings in April, Brian. I don't think I'm part of the problem.
No, but why would you play to yourself though? Like if they have a theme.
Yeah, but they're not there yet. Nobody's in the room but me.
I can tell you, at least in my experience, okay, the event, let's say it's the ceremony starts at 3. Guaranteed there's going to be people there an hour to 45 minutes early.
Oh, yeah. So 2:20, I start playing music. So I'm catching both sides.
Well, what I said part of the problem, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that you are having a problem getting work. I'm saying that you're struggling with playing early music because you've had problems. And if you're being self-indulgent about the music,
don't. Like, I don't know the venue. That's what I meant about, I don't know the venues where you guys are working.
Happen. They actually told you not to. They actually told you not to play.
I might be alone on this one. I am 99% of my events. I'm asked to leave the room at some point because the photographer wants 5-10 minutes to take an empty room photo.
That's weird.
That's very
That happens at every wedding I do, because they'll come in and I'll be there doing sound check and they're like, hey, can we get 5 minutes? I'm like, sure, which is their way of saying, can you leave? Because they want no one. They want a clear room.
Yeah, I have the opposite thing. I have the opposite thing where the photographer comes up and says, hey, do you mind if I take the couple outside in front of the wrought iron railing? You know, and
I'm going to go outside. Let me know if something happens.
You said 15 minutes. It's been a half an hour.
Oh, yeah, no, we get that too. But yeah, so there's a lot of things, you know, going on. And again, you guys seem to have rooms that allow for a lot of time. I might want to show up 2 hours prior just for my own volition. Sure. But the majority of time, there's windows of operation. You know, if you work a military base in San Diego, you get 1 hour or you pay $150 more for the next hour. So clients don't want to pay the $150. So they have a 4 o'clock ceremony outside. You're allowed to get into the room at 3. So you set up for half an hour. You go outside and do half an hour of prelude at 3:30 to 4. They stay outside for cocktails with one speaker from 4:30 to 5. You're back in the room prepping it. I mean, so it really doesn't come up. I mean, I get it, but you know,
wedding reception machine. Yeah.
Well, I mean, do your venues do 2 a day? I've got
ours usually
they do 3 if they could.
Wow.
They do a morning, an afternoon, and a night if they could pull it off.
It's happened.
Well, that's
to me
exhausting.
It's happened.
Wedding mill.
Yeah. They'll do 10 to 2
wedding
and
factories,
then 5 up.
Yeah, it actually happened to me at the Hilton in Philly, where I came in to set up and there was a guy in there. I go, hey, what's going on? I go, oh, well, they're having a wedding shower.
I remember the show.
I go, well, what time is it over? Oh, it's over, at X time. And I go, well, now that guy has to break down, but I still have to set up. So I pulled the old trick we all do. You pre-stage stuff in the hallway and whatnot. But
have you ever had to move tables? I've had venues where I've had to physically take the other side of a DJ's table, move him in the hallway, and then he takes my table that's in the hallway and we move that into the room.
Yeah, I've done it. And that's where being cooperative and kind with the other DJ works out good. What I did with this guy was I go, hey, look, how about this? You go out to the right. I'm going to bring my stuff in from the left. And then we did the same thing. We slid his table over, put mine in place, and then I could start setting up. And I made it by the skin of my teeth.
Those are scary.
It's stressful enough just doing the event, let alone having to, be under the gun like that, man.
Well, but venues will extend. Eric, there are hotels out here that are very, very expensive. I'm talking like a 100-person wedding starts at like $70,000. And if they can get an hour out of them at what they're charging.
Sure.
So, your wedding starts at 5 for a cocktail. Their wedding ends at 3. No problem. I can't tell you how many horror stories I've seen or heard where they'll extend to 4, and you walk into a room with guests,
you're going
hanging out dancing, and you're like, and you're talking to the banquet captain, like, I have a 5 o'clock cocktail in here. He goes, yeah, they extended till 4. We give them that extra hour if they need it. That's why we have it stop at 3. And I'm like, the DJ's going to take half an hour to break down. Like, well, you can set up in the hallway. We'll get you a table.
So came the gig bar.
Interesting. And interestingly enough, like in all of the contracts that I have, be it mine or the agencies or whatever, since I've been doing this since the 80s, in the contract it states stage area must be clear 1 hour before start time.
In your contract.
Yeah, and that's always been the case. They read the contract and they go, oh, it's in Brian's contract. It has to happen.
Well, if it's not, and it's like, okay, look, you only gave me 15 minutes to set up. I get an hour. It's right there. You got to give me an hour. It's just how it goes.
But that's almost the same argument about me not playing music before the contracts. You're holding the contract in your hand the same way I was.
No, I'm just, it's not.
And that's the show, everybody. Good night.
It's never been an issue.
Wait, nobody's been slapped yet. It's not over.
Yeah. Not a slap in the face.
It's never been an issue. It's there. And it's interesting that you say that, because yeah, this is a responsibility that you have. We need to have the stage area clear because we need X amount of time to set up. And if it's not clear, we can't get set up in time.
I asked for wherever the DJ is set up. The first line of my contract says wherever the DJ is set up has to be out of direct sunlight. 100% of my clients, oh yeah, you're over there in the middle of that field. Wait, what? And I'm like, the contract states you have to provide something over. Oh, you don't have a pop-up? What do I look like, Swap Meet Joe? No, I don't have a pop-up. Where do I need a pop-up? I get up in the morning. I don't think, I'm going to go in the backyard and have coffee. If I only had
my lemonade stand I run during the week.
Yeah. When I'm doing collections in the streets. No,
Here's a question. You guys seriously don't have pop-up tents, though?
I have one hand. I'm not going to offer pop-up.
White pop.
Brian's doing. Brian's got
They're
an umbrella.
$200. They're $200 at Sam's Club.
You want to come and set the damn thing up? I can't.
I don't need them. That's the thing. The venues always seem to cover.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's like
on rainy days, I know certain locations. I bring one with me.
Oh, and it's in my contract. I don't work in the rain. They pay in full, and I still don't work. And there's a 20% penalty if it rains that I get, and I still don't.
You don't work in the sun. You don't work in the rain.
I'm fragile.
You need to move where I am.
Y'all are forgetting who Jay's agent is.
I'm fragile.
Yes.
You need to work in the snow.
Izzy Itzkowitz. He'll write your contract.
That's right.
I think it's Christian redid his contract, and he's got like 20 clauses. He sent it to me, and I think his 8th clause is, if you don't read this entire contract, and initial, by initialing, you agree to forfeit $1 million to the DJ if some bizarre thing like if a UFO is spotted. And he goes, every one of my clients initials it, and no one has said a word to me yet. I'm like,
like the brown M&M's clause.
Yeah.
I'm
like, really? They don't say anything like the $1 million for the UFO? He goes, no, nobody's called me out yet.
Really?
Because I have a lawyer that didn't call me out. I'm like, there you go.
That's funny.
He works for Dewey, Cheatham and Howe.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. Yeah. Is there any final thoughts? Jay, you always have one.
Brian has one. I'm good this evening. I think Brian's got one. Yeah. Brian started in the 40s. Brian's got more knowledge on this.
Probably true.
Well,
the only thing I was going to say that I didn't get a chance to get in was, and this is just a very unique situation, but there are times when a client books you for, let's say, specifically a cocktail hour, and then, dinner reception. Once in a while, the cocktail is not in the room you're in.
Yes.
And they don't tell you that, but you're still contracted to start at that time. Those are some of the times when I'm playing to staff, because I have to play. I feel obligated to play because it says this. I'm not just going to go, I'm going to do something for an hour until they come in. No, I'm going to play music.
Yeah.
Well, nobody can call me out on this stupid technicality. Yeah. Well, you didn't start at the time you said you were going to start. No.
It's when you play ZZ Top.
Yeah, right. If that's, whatever the setup staff wants, I'm going to play that for them, because they're who's in the room. The doors are closed, but I'm playing. I am not breaching contract because I started when I said I was going to start, regardless if there's a client in the room. So I don't know. That's just something I didn't get out, but it's not really a final thought. Yeah. It's just a thought.
No, it's a great observation though, because it does happen.
No, it is. It is.
They're in the foyer. It's like, where's cocktail? I thought it was in here. Oh no. Today they moved the bar outside. I'm like, I don't have an extra speaker. Well, we can open the door a little and you can just play. I'm like,
perfect.
They've got their own music out there anyway.
They don't even know you're not there.
Yeah. But I'm contracted, so I'm there.
No, I'm exactly the same way. If they open the doors, they're like, our DJ was playing. Yeah, no, I don't want to be like reading the racing form in the back, like, sorry, I'm over here with Uncle Joe on the shady rest, figuring out the 4th race at Aqueduct.
Watching that little black and white TV with bunny ears on it.
Exactly. Big cigar and one of those fedoras.
Back there. Yeah.
It's just playing craps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much.
I have a couple venues like that with the separate cocktail hours. One is a mansion venue, and their ceremony, is in one space, cocktail hours in the mansion, and then everything else happens in a tent. And so I'm always set up in the tent and set up for ceremony. There is no way for me to really put a sound system in the mansion, but they have one. So I just burn a couple of those things called CDs
Oh, wow.
because they have a 5.
I got to look this up.
Sweet.
On their,
Don't Google that.
God.
They got a reel to reel too?
Yeah.
no,
They use Mr. Microphone for all the entrances.
I think I know the place you're talking about. And it has a plaque that says George Washington slept here, right?
Close. It was originally opened in 1746.
Wow.
But
Where do I plug into this side water supply?
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. And remember, folks, these are only our personal opinions. You do you. And we will see you next week. Thank you all.